Welcome to this explainer on Module 1, Principles of Menu Engineering for Profitability and Customer Satisfaction. If you've ever stared at a restaurant menu and thought it was just, well, a random list of dishes, prepare to have your perspective completely shifted today. The restaurant industry is an incredibly high-stakes environment. It's a place where survival isn't just about having a great chef in the kitchen. It requires absolutely strategic, intentional architecture. So let's dive right in and uncover the hidden science behind exactly what you order. Our source material today opens with a pretty powerful reality check. It notes that in an industry where success is often measured in thin margins, you really have to move beyond just basic recipe creation. It's not enough for the food to just taste good anymore. Avoiding failure and actually achieving long-term success requires a strictly data-driven strategy. We have to start viewing the menu not as a piece of paper, but as a carefully optimized financial portfolio. To get us there, we've got a bit of a rescue mission planned for today. We'll be looking at 1. The strategic menu bridge. 2. A new financial focus. 3. The menu engineering matrix. 4. The psychology of menus. And 5. Your menu transformation project. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the strategic menu bridge. Think about the natural flow of the entire restaurant business for a second. On one side, you have Step 1, back-of-house procurement. That's buying the raw ingredients, right? And on the exact opposite side, you've got Step 3, front-of-house sales. That's what the customer actually pays for at the end of the night. Menu engineering sits right there in the middle at Step 2. It is the strategic bridge connecting those two worlds. It's literally the process that translates your raw ingredient costs into maximized customer spending. Without this bridge, honestly, you're just guessing.
Moving right along to Section 2, a new financial focus.
If we're actually going to engineer a profitable menu, we have to completely change how we look at the math. Historically, restaurant operators absolutely obsessed over the old focus, food cost percentage. They wanted every single dish to cost exactly 30% to make. But here is the massive secret. You don't take percentages to the bank, right? You take dollars to the bank. So the modern ROI-driven strategy shifts everything to our new focus, contribution margin. Let's define exactly what that actually means. Contribution margin is basically just a mathematical equation that measures an item's true profitability. You simply take the sales revenue, so the price printed on the menu, and subtract the variable costs, which is just the cost of the raw ingredients on the plate. Why is this absolutely crucial? Because that remaining dollar amount is what actually pays for your labor, your rent, your electricity, and ultimately your profit. Let's look at a concrete example from the source material to really make this stick. Imagine a simple chicken sandwich. The ingredients, so the chicken, the bun, lettuce, tomato, mayo, the whole shebang, cost a total of $2.09. If you sell that sandwich for $6.99, you just subtract that $2.09 cost, and you're left with a very tangible $4.90 contribution margin. That $4.90 is the workhorse of your restaurant. Our ultimate goal is to engineer the menu to sell as many of those high contribution margin items as humanly possible. So, how do we actually find those workhorses? That brings us to Section 3, the menu engineering matrix. I absolutely love this framework because it provides total clarity. We categorize every single item on our menu based on just two metrics, profitability and popularity. This naturally creates 4 distinct quadrants. First, you have your stars. These are high in both, highly profitable and highly popular. Then, your plow horses. These are very popular. Everyone orders them, but they have low profitability. Next are puzzles. These are highly profitable, but for some reason, nobody orders them. And finally, dogs. These are just low in both profitability and popularity. Okay, so the crucial point here is knowing exactly what action to take for each of these quadrants. For your stars, you keep them, you highlight them, and honestly, maybe even test their price elasticity with a slight price bump. For your plow horses, since everyone already loves them, but the margins are super tight, you need to either raise the price a bit or slightly reduce the portion sizes to improve that margin. Now, your puzzles, these are hidden gems. You need to increase their appeal by repositioning them on the menu or totally rewriting their descriptions. And your dogs, cut them immediately. You have to stop wasting valuable inventory space and menu real estate on them.
Section 4, the psychology of menus.
Because knowing the math is literally only half the battle. The math only works if we know how to strategically influence consumer habits. When a customer opens a standard double-page menu, their eyes do not read it like a regular book. They follow what's called the golden triangle. First, their eyes dart right to the middle of the menu. then up to the top right, and finally over to the top left. This is prime real estate. If you have a high margin star item, this is exactly where you want to drop it. You are quite literally guiding their eyes to your most profitable dishes. Next up is a really brilliant psychological tactic called the decoy effect. This is a crazy phenomenon where you introduce a third, purposefully less appealing option specifically to make your target high-margin option look like a way better value. Think about it. If you have an expensive steak you really want to sell, placing an outrageously priced, slightly larger premium steak right next to it makes your original steak look like a totally reasonable, sensible choice by comparison. It's the science of bundling and contrasting options to drive perceived value. We also have to think about semantic salience. You don't just sell chicken. No way. You sell succulent, aromatic, wood-fired chicken. These are sensory descriptors. They appeal directly to a person's sight, smell, or taste, drawing out a very specific emotional reaction. This is absolutely your best tool for turning those high-profit puzzles we talked about earlier into best-selling stars. A simple rewrite can entirely change a dish's popularity overnight. Finally, Section 5, your menu transformation project. We've covered the financial theory and the psychological tactics. Now it's time to bring all of this into your upcoming practical assessment. For this, you're going to step directly into the shoes of a turnaround consultant. You'll be given a raw data pack for a struggling restaurant. This includes their current underperforming menu, a 30-day product mix, or PMX, report showing exactly what actually sold, and all the raw ingredient cost sheets. It is your job to perform a complete engineering overhaul from the ground up. You're going to execute this in 3 distinct phases. Phase 1 is the financial audit. This is where you do the hard math, calculating plate costs and contribution margins. Phase 2 is categorization and strategy, where you'll plot every single item onto that menu engineering matrix we just went over. And finally, Phase 3 is the creative redesign. You will visually engineer a brand new menu layout, utilizing the golden triangle, decoys, and sensory descriptors to physically manifest your new strategy. Now, just a heads up, for this assessment, the grading criteria are strict. You need flawless mathematical accuracy. There is zero room for error on those margin calculations. You must correctly identify your stars, dogs, puzzles, and plow horses. You need to actually demonstrate sophisticated psychological application in your final design, and crucially, your operational logic must balance profit with efficiency. Look, if you put 5 complex dishes in the golden triangle that all require the single fry station, you will completely crash the kitchen. Balance is absolutely key here. So as we wrap up, remember that menu engineering is this fascinating intersection of cold, hard data and human behavioral psychology. It is definitely not just about making things look pretty. It's about engineering true survival and success. I'll leave you with this one thought as you prep for your assessment. When you open that raw data pack, how will you reinvent your puzzles and eliminate your dogs to engineer ultimate profitability? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and seriously, best of luck with your menu transformation.